Good morning, everyone. It's Marg from Creative Stamping with Marg. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Alberta, Canada. Today is Tuesday, February 28th, the last day of the month, and the very last day of your celebration catalog. All right, so we'll get started right away on a card that was inspired by this layout. So I received this card quite a while ago, and it is done with stitched rectangles, 3 of them, of designer series paper, layering circles with an image stamped on it, and a couple of mats. There is a white mat here, and then behind each of the rectangles there's a little black mat, just to make it pop off the page here. And on the inside, she did another little rectangle of DSP with bordered with the black behind it. All right. So that's my inspiration for today. So we're going to use crumb cake today, and I'm making the orientation different. I used 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. That's our card base. I took another piece of crumb cake. This is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I ran it through the timber embossing folder, so you can see. Looks like wood. And then I took my early espresso ink and my blending brush, and I just blended a little bit of ink on it just to make it look so you can see it a bit better. It stands out a bit better. Okay. So that's going to be placed right on there, just with 1/8 of an inch border around it. Okay. Then I cut my 3 pieces with my stitched rectangle out of DSP. So I have these 3 pieces. This is He's the Man DSP. I thought it looked good on this crumb cake paper. So these are the stitched, done with the stitched rectangles. And I'm not going to put a mat behind them like this card has the black mats behind each one. I'm not going to with this one. My thought is I'm just going to place them on here like this somehow. I haven't quite decided yet. And I took one of the Stylish Shapes stitch circles, the second from the largest, and I cut out one of the circles in crumb cake, and I stamped it with the adorable owl. So he's from this set. He's the one that looks like he's flying. So I stamped his image in early espresso. And I don't have all the blends, so I thought, oh, I'll just use my Stampin' Right markers. So I used early espresso for his eyes and pumpkin pie for his feet and his beak, and just gave him a little bit of color. So he's going to go on here somewhere. And then from this same stamp set, I stamped the words hoot hoot, but I didn't want "you're so cute," so I just cut it off. So I stamped it like that. And from A Grand Kid, which is in our annual catalog, I stamped this greeting. So smart, so fun, so sweet, and so wonderful. And then I cut it all apart. So I did it like this. So smart, so fun, so sweet, and so wonderful. And we're going to play with putting that together. All right, so let's start by getting our card assembled here. I'll bring in my silicone mat. I don't get glue everywhere. And my Tombow liquid glue. And we'll glue this mat right down to the front of our card. Remembering that you're just going to be leaving just that 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So just has an extra border just around the edges, like that. Okay, now I have to decide how I'm going to place my rectangles. And my thought was I wanted the rust-colored one in the middle and the 2 darker ones. And I didn't want them necessarily to be even, but I want my owl to sit on there. So that looks pretty good. So I will do the top and bottom ones first. And like I say, I don't think they have to be exactly the same. That'll take the stress out of lining them up if you sort of don't have them the same. So I'm just going to put that one there, like that. And like I say, this one is not going to be the same. I won't line it up exactly so that I actually think I'll sort of, I want the top and bottom margins to be about the same, but I think I'll just set him off like that. And then this one I want sticking out more. I like the color of this one to kind of make a pop on our front here. So I'll center it in between the two, looking at the border here and the border here. I'll just do that. Okay, then I want to put my little owl on, and I do want to put him up on dimensionals, so I'll probably use 4 dimensionals on him just to make him pop up. And the way I take my dimensionals off is I just press in the center with my nail, and then the paper tends to just pop up, and it's easier for me to remove them. There's lots of different ways to get those off, but sometimes they can be a little tricky. And then I'm going to have my owl, I think like that. That looks good. Okay, and I wanted to put, I was going to put hoot hoot like he's saying it, like it's coming out of his beak. And then I wanted to put so smart, so fun, so sweet. So I thought that looked good. Now, if I want to put this coming off of my circle, I'm going to have to put a dimensional just on the pointed end here. And one of these should just fit. And then I'll put glue on this part to put it on top of the circle. Pop that backing off. All right, so it's like he's saying it. So we'll do it like that. And then I'm just going to put these on kind of at a different, you can see I made a mistake when I stamped this. So I stamped it again. It wasn't straight. So remember, there's 2 sides to your paper. So you can always turn it over and stamp again. So I think I'm going to just put that down like that. And this one, same thing. You can see I had to turn the paper over because I wasn't stamping very straight. So I tried again and it worked out. I think I'll put this one this way. There. All right. So that's the front of our card. Hoot hoot, so smart, so fun, so sweet. And I'm going to put "and so wonderful" on the inside. Now the inside of the card, I decided, seeing there's no white on this, I would use very vanilla. So I'm going to use a very vanilla inside. Now I did run this through the largest, this side is the right side, the largest stitched rectangle. Because we use the stitch rectangles on the front, I thought this would be good on the inside. And that makes it kind of cool. So I'm going to put this in the inside. And I also, using a retired die, which I've kept because it's so narrow, it's a stitched die, so I like it. I cut a piece of our designer series paper. And again, you could just cut a strip. And I thought I might put it down the side here, like that. So take this out. And we'll glue that strip on. And you know how I like to do this. I like to lay my strip next to my paper. And I'm going to have to, it's a bit longer than my paper, so I'm going to trim the ends once I get it on. And I'm going to just put it down the side of the paper like that. Let it sit for a minute. And then I will trim the ends off. Just like that. And just like that. Perfect. Okay. Now, I think I want it on that side. Yeah, I think I want put it on that side, like that. And then because we had these all at a funny angle, I was going to put that at an angle. I thought that might look cute. So I'm just going to glue this down. And hey, what's better than not having to make something perfectly straight? Just like that. Leaving you lots of room still to write. Okay, then I'm just going to put this into my card. Again, using my liquid Tombow glue, so I've got a little bit of wiggle room. And looking at my edges, trying to get them relatively even, like that. Perfect. All right, I'm happy with that card. Now, I didn't have any, we sell Baker's twine in a package that has 5 different colors. I don't have any of the crumb cake. So I did have some retired crumb cake twine that I thought I might use and put it on the bottom here, but I'm just not certain. I think it might make the card a bit too fat if I'm going to be mailing it. So I might opt not to use that. But we do have the brushed metallic adhesive back dots, and I happen to have 3 of those brushed ones left. So I thought maybe I would put those on just to give it some extra something. There. There. And maybe right here. All right, that looks good on the front. Yeah, I think that was a good choice not to use that twine because the twine is so fat. Sometimes things like that don't go through the mail very well. So there's our card finished. I do have an envelope here, and I'm going to use a very vanilla envelope, and I did cut a piece of the designer series paper, and so I will put it on the flap with my Tombow glue again. I just run a little bit all the way around, and then in the middle, and lay it right there, and then I trim it off, and it's ready to go. So this piece that I'm putting on the flap is 2.5 by 6, and it just fits our envelopes perfectly. Just having to do a little bit of a trim here. Trim the paper off like that. And make sure it sticks all the way around. Good. So there's our envelope and our card for today. Quick and easy. Lots of different ideas for using those rectangles. And again, I could have put a layer underneath each rectangle like this card was done, but I decided that using the timber embossing folder was going to be enough behind it. Okay, so there's our card from today and my inspiration card. And I have one more card to show you that I did. This one was done with the Friendly Gnomes and the Dandy Designs paper from Celebration. So for this one, this opens the same way. It's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. I used a piece 5 by 4 1/4. No, that's not right. 4 by 5 1/4 of designer series paper, the striped Granny Apple Green paper. Then I used the stitched rectangles again for the dotted paper, and I did use a Granny Apple Green layer underneath them. So each one has the layer underneath it. Then I used my Stylish Shapes, and I cut 2 circles, one out of fresh freesia and one out of white. I stamped it with the Friendly Gnomes. This is in our mini catalog. There he is right there, that little one with the heart. And I used adorable owls for the saying on the front. I used "It's Your Day." So that's what I put on the front there, "It's Your Day." And I just stamped the owl in Smoky Slate, or the owl, the gnome in Smoky Slate. And I don't have a lot of the blends, So I just have some of the markers. So I did stamp the flowers and the gnome from the Friendly Gnome set. I used this flowers beside him, right here and here. And then I stamped the hat on a piece of Designer Series paper from this same package and fussy cut it out and glued it on. I did use Stampin' Write markers to color his nose and his hands and the heart and the centers of the flowers. I have blends in the green, so I used that. This grass tufts came from the gnome dies, which we still have. They are carrying over. And I offset my circles, as you can see. I used some fresh freesia ribbon. I used some retired fresh freesia sequins. And I put this double circle up on dimensionals. So it's your day, and then you open it like this. And I used the greeting from the Friendly Gnomes, wishing you the most magical of birthdays. And I put it on another stitch circle on the inside, and I'd also stamped the flower again. So that just finished off the inside of the card. And I also stamped the flowers and colored them on my envelope. So that would be my envelope. So that's another look, using a lot of Designer Series paper for that one. All right, that's our card for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Give it a try. Even if you don't have the stitched rectangles, you can still cut your pieces in rectangles shape and be able to do the same thing. All the dimensions and everything will be underneath this video, so you can check it out there. Hope everybody has a great day.